The aluminum boat segment is a vast and widespread issue as far as horsepower levels. It can range anywhere from even 15 to 300 horsepower. Today, we're going to focus on one of the primary single engine applications that would involve the aluminum boat market, and that's going to be the 25 and a 30 by simply matching it up. 30 is identical to the 25. What are important things when we're talking about this particular market? Well, being that it's a single engine application, that slow trolling is important. A lot of fishing is done from aluminum boats. What else is important? Well, if you're trolling for long periods of time, you're going to have and want a no smoking engine. High torque is important. You may have 3, 4, 5 people. You may want to go duck hunting with a full load of decoys. Head to your next spot. You want to make sure that boat gets up on pad and on plane. Less weight is important. You want to maximize the amount of people and load you can get in some of those boats. Again, duck hunting or maybe some fishing experiences. You've got go baby portage. And last but not least, this type of an engine, you're definitely going to be using it into a colder environment where winterization is definitely going to play as a very positive attribute. Self-winterization is really one of the keys to all the Evinrude E-TECs as well. When you're looking at matching an outboard engine with an aluminum boat, a couple key things come to mind. One is slow trolling. Many cases consumers are going to be dealing with a single engine application for this. Well, maybe somebody might add an electric motor to it, but the majority of people are going to be running one engine. What's important to them? Well, they're going to be fishing, many cases. So what do they want to do? They want to be able to present the bait at a slow speed. With the 25 and 30, we have a 2.15 to 1 gear ratio. Very, very slow prop rotation, but let's combine that with the slow RPM of the engine at 610 RPMs, factory settable. Now, when you're dealing with that, it's important, but let's control that speed and that boat at that point. Well, we've got the gear case. It's a larger profile, a bigger rudder, so you're able to control that particular boat, stay on those fish, and get the bait in the right location. All in all, slow trolling and control are going to give the 25 and 30 the thumbs up. When we're talking about the aluminum category, trolling is important. And when you think of trolling, you think of, well, the old outboards used to smoke and smell and have all those problems. What do we talk about when we're talking about no smoking? Well, how do we prove that we're not a dirty engine? Well, we've got two strong proofs right here. One, the CARB 3-star sticker. That's a California Air Resources Board sticker. It says we comply, meet, and exceed those requirements. Now, the second sticker that we have, which is the EU sticker, that's the European Union sticker. Now, what's unique about that is the European Union requires 3 emissions to be measured all independently. They have to stand on their own, and there is significant benefit to showing the consumer and understanding that this truly is the cleanest outboard in the world. Add to that, the Evinrude E-TEC is the only engine ever to receive the Clean Air Impact Award. Those 3 things definitely prove this particular engine is one of the cleanest in the world. But let's add one more thing. When we're looking at carbon monoxide, every boat that's sold today is required to have a carbon monoxide sticker on the back of the boat as well as near the dashboard of the boat. Carbon monoxide is one of those, you can't smell it, gases. Now, what's interesting is, on the Evinrude E-TEC, it's a very small amount, but let's give you an idea how small amount it is. On comparable 4-strokes and larger sizes, we're dealing with upwards of 55,000 parts per million of carbon monoxide. When we look at the Evinrude E-TEC, it's slightly less, like 600 parts per million, which is outstanding. In fact, it is truly, adding those 3 together, the cleanest outboard in the world, period. When we're dealing with aluminum boats, as we said before, it's generally a single engine application. And if the person is fishing, they're obviously going to be using it probably at slow trolling speeds for long periods of time. Well, what's definitely unique about the Evinrude E-TEC, there is not another engine in its class that's direct injected, but not only direct injected, direct and pinpoint oil injected. You can see on the side of the engine through our oil pump here, we actually have oil lines going to separate pieces and parts throughout the engine. What that does is it gives us the ability to oil where and specifically when that part needs to be oiled and only in the amount it needs to be oiled. And what does that give you? That gives you hours of running without plug fouling, it gives you no smoke running, and it gives you the confidence that you're going to have that engine running exactly the right speed you want it to all day long. When people thought about slow trolling and engines running at very slow speeds in the past, what would they think of? They'd think of smoke, they'd think of the engine barely running and eventually fouling out the spark plugs. Well, one of the key things in the Evinrude E-TEC that really gives us a benefit in that area is the fast rise inductive ignition. It's located right here in the engine, right next to the spark plug. What it does is it gives us several things. Number one, it gives us a long firing range. In other words, that plug is able to fire for a long period of time. In the past, it used to be a multi-strike or multi-firing of the spark plug. What that would mean is you'd have very short plug life because every time you fire the spark plug, you're wearing it out. In this case, long duration gives us a couple attributes. Number one, it gives us smooth idle. Definitely an attribute for low end as far as trolling speeds. The second thing is it gives us a clean burn, which obviously gives us the ability to have minimal buildup in the spark plug, but also minimal emission. And the third thing, it obviously gives us a very smooth idle. So it's going to provide consistent trolling speed no matter where you are or what temperature it is. Definitely fast rise inductive ignition is a benefit with a 25 and 30 in the aluminum boat category. Boats that are used in the aluminum category, in this case obviously the 25 and 30 horsepower, are probably going to be used in some climates that may have a tendency to get a little chilly come fall and maybe winter. Definitely something that needs to have winterization done. Well, in this case with the Evinrude E-TEC, we've got it covered. The auto storage and winterization mode allows you to, through a throttle stroke, simply winterize the engine and put it to bed. Probably asking how that's possible. Well, the EMM, or the computer, the brain box, actually when you achieve a certain throttle stroke on the engine, it recognizes you're trying to put it into a winterized mode. It then initiates the winterized mode, double oils the engine for about a minute or so, coats all the engine and appropriate engine parts, and then shuts the engine off automatically. No rocket science here, simple and easy to do, and you can do it over and over. Let's say you have an Indian summer, you just winterized it, put it back in the water. Winterize it again, put it to bed. No harm to the engine, no issues whatsoever. Auto winterize feature will definitely extend your season. Without question, a feature that's a benefit to you. When we're dealing with a 25, 30, in fact, any horsepower, high torque is definitely something people want. It gets your boat on plane faster, and if you have a number of people or heavy loads, it definitely gives you better fuel economy because it'll plane the boat out that much more quickly. The 25 and 30 are definitely no exception to that rule. And why? It's a two-stroke technology situation. One power stroke for every 2 strokes of the engine. 4-stroke is 1 power stroke for every 4 strokes of the engine. You have more power, more often, and it's definitely important. Now, what's interesting is not only is this going to be some of the highest output in its class as far as power, but it's also the slowest trolling. So you not only have the ability to troll slow, but when you're done trolling, get up onto that next fishing spot, this engine's got the power.